This segment combines awareness and movement, beginning from a standing position. As you follow the sequence, remembering to honor your own sense of what's possible for you to do, feeling free to ignore or to modify instructions as we go along. As with the other yoga sequence, we will be exploring our boundaries and limits in a gentle but determined way, and all the while with the intention of maintaining non-judgmental awareness of our own personal and moment-to-moment experience. Beginning by standing, feet flat on the floor, about shoulder distance apart, arms and hands dangling to the side, head level and straight, ears kind of in line with the shoulders. Standing in this position is known as the mountain pose. And finding your sense of balance standing in this position and becoming aware of your own breathing. Just noticing the in-breath and how it affects the movement of your abdomen, expanding with the in-breath, flattening a little bit with the out-breath. And on your next in-breath, as you're taking the air in, bringing your arms up to the side, breathing in and in, keeping your arms going. And so the peak of the in-breath, if you can do this, is at the very top with your hands pointing up, fingers pointing up, thumbs locked together. And holding this position with your fingers pointing towards the ceiling and allowing yourself to breathe in this position. With your arms up alongside your head and your ears, relatively straight, but not rigidly straight. Thumbs interlocked together. And holding the stretch. And noticing what happens as you breathe through this stretch. And when you're ready, letting your thumbs unlock, and in your next out-breath, letting your arms go down towards the side so they're now horizontal. Fingers still pointing towards the ceiling so your wrists are bent. Finding your breath in this position, a cross-like position. And in the next out-breath, allowing the arms to go down slowly and mindfully down to the side, wrists to drop, arms again to dangle, so you're once again in the mountain position. And on your next in-breath, bringing up your left arm up to the side, all the way up. Your right arm is still to your side, but your right arm is now pointing towards the ceiling. Your palm pointing towards the center. And this is called a picking the grapes position. That's what we call it. And just stretching up and up with your left arm as high as you can get it. You may have to lift if it helps you to do this, lifting your right heel up off the floor to give it a little more distance this way. And stretching way up, just like you're trying to pick a grape up off of the ceiling. Finding your breath in this position. And notice which muscles are being stretched as you hold this position and which are not involved. And you're ready, letting your left arm come back down through a horizontal and all the way back down to mountain pose again. Finding your center. Imagine your center being just maybe right below the belly button. That's where your center of gravity would normally be. Finding your breath. And when you're ready, bring your right arm up through the horizontal, all the way up so it's nearly vertical, palm pointing towards the center, and stretching up and up as high as you can go. And noticing how it stretches all along the right side of your body. And the left side is more or less limp. Just like you're trying to pick something just beyond your reach. Holding this position. Breathing through it. And in the next out breath, allowing your right arm to come back down through the horizontal and down to the side again. And this time bring both arms up to the side, through the horizontal, all the way up to vertical, so your arms are right alongside the ears, and palms pointing towards each other, just straight up. So they're relatively parallel in this position. And as you're holding this position, finding your breath, noticing the movement of your body as you're breathing and holding in this pose. And on an in-breath, allowing your right and left arm both to stretch up a little bit higher. And an out-breath, letting it come down just a little bit, still pointing straight up. And when you're ready, bending over to the right, so your arms are now going from vertical to an angle position, but still parallel. And so now you're leaning over your right hip, feet still flat on the floor, and your body will have to bend a little bit to get it in this position and to keep balanced. And imagining your arms going, you're not going to be able to probably get so they're parallel to the ground, but more horizontal than vertical. And holding this position, keeping them parallel, head between the arms. And remembering to breathe. And noticing where there's stretching or pulling, and being careful to know your own limit here. You're not going too far, but you're going far enough so you can feel something of a stretch. And when you're ready, coming back up to vertical again. So your hands are pointing straight up. And now to the other side, to the left. Just bending down towards the left. So your left arm and your head are going over your hip. Your right arm is relatively parallel to your left arm. Head between. And holding this. Just noticing the concentration it takes to hold this. Remembering to keep your breath going. Just observe your breath, how it's affected by this. And when you're ready, coming back up to the vertical again. And on your next out breath, hands coming back down to the side and hanging again from the shoulders back into the mountain pose. And in this mountain pose, standing balanced and solid, just noticing what it's like to be standing in this pose after exerting your body in the way that we just have, where you can sense release or flow, or weight. And bring your awareness again to the movement and the rhythm of your own breathing. And from here, keeping your head in the same position, going into a shoulder roll, and we'll do that by taking your shoulders and pushing them forward. So your right shoulder and your left shoulder going forward, chest in the same position, and allowing them then to drop down. And then moving your shoulders back so your shoulder blades are coming closer together. Almost like you could try to touch your right and your left shoulder behind your back. And holding this position. Remembering to breathe. And then rotating up. So your shoulders come way up, almost like you could touch your ears with your shoulders. High as you can comfortably hold it. Arms still dangling. And then letting them just drop back into the mountain pose. And now using this movement, going into a roll at your own rhythm, shoulders forward and down. Back with the shoulder blades close together, and up towards the ears, allowing yourself to complete a few cycles of this. Just following this at your own pace. And going one more cycle through, and when you complete that cycle, allowing your shoulders to just drop again. Letting your arms just hang back in the mountain pose. And we move from here into a head roll. So allowing your head to drop to one side, say to the right side, and you drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And just letting the weight of your head serve to bring your right ear closer to your right shoulder. Your shoulders may tip a little bit, but most of the movement is from the neck up. And seeing what the weight of your own head does as you allow the stretch to happen along the left part of your neck. And when you're ready, rolling from there to your head forward and chin down, and letting the weight of your head just drop your head down towards your chest. So your chin may actually be touching your chest or being close to it. And all the while being aware of the movement of your breath. And moving your head, rolling it to the left, so your left ear is over your left shoulder. And then all the way back. And doing this, find your own limit where it's possible for you to be back, not too far, but far enough so there's a little bit of a stretch. And then all the way back to the right ear over the right shoulder again. And at your own pace, continuing the roll all the way around. Noticing where different parts of your neck are extended and stretched, and other parts contracted and letting go. Letting the weight of your head govern the movement around. And after you complete the next cycle you're on, bring the rolling movement around to the other side, so you're going the other direction. Just moving your own pace and noticing to what extent your shoulders are involved and how your body tilts just slightly as you go through the rolling movement. Just allowing that to be just as if it was all connected with a soft and gentle movement all the way around. As continuous as you can possibly make it. And coming back to a mountain pose, standing balanced as you are here. And the next movement we'll make will require some balance, so getting in touch with just where your balance is as you stand here. And you can do this by starting by putting more weight on your right foot and less on your left foot. And so your left foot almost comes up off the ground, but maybe not quite. And just seeing just how far over you can go, defining where the limit is on that side. And shifting your weight again with the weight coming off the right foot and on the left foot. And finding your balance over to the left. Your right foot comes off, and the pressure comes off the ground, most of the weight's on the right foot. And seeing just how far you go, so you're almost teetering. And coming back to center, finding that place between those two extremes, right and left. That's your center point of balance from right to left. And now to help find your balance forward and back, letting your weight go more towards your toes, and bring your weight up off your heels. And you may need to bend forward just slightly, but just letting your weight go forward so you can feel your weight just before the point where you'd be in danger of tipping over, but finding that place where you might even be a little wobbly there. Weight on your toes, and then coming back through center, and back on your heels, the other direction. So the weight is more on your heels than your toes, and finding a position that's comfortable for you here, there, in that balance. Legs can be slightly bent through this to help you balance. And finding that position where you're almost in danger of falling over, but not quite. And then again, coming back towards center. And with this awareness of the center point, forward and back and right and left, finding that perfect center, just like a plumb line going straight to the floor, where you're as balanced as you can possibly be, forward and back, right and left. And maintaining this feeling of center of balance, allowing your arms to go up to the side so that they form a horizontal line, fingertips pointing out, making like a cross. And you'll be shifting your balance to your right foot as your arms are stretched out to the right and to the left, and bringing most of your weight and then all of your weight on your right foot. And as you do this, allowing your left foot to come up off the ground. There may be some balancing and some wobbling. You may need to bring your left foot back down to maintain balance. But as much as it's possible, allowing your left leg to go up, so it's up off the ground and pointed out to the left. and not giving yourself a hard time if you can't maintain this. You may need to keep coming back down to touch the ground, and maybe finding a point of balance where your left leg can be up. And when you're ready, bring your left leg back, your arms still up, finding your center of balance, finding your breath. And as you're ready to do this, bring your weight to your left foot, and taking a weight off your right, and bring your right leg and right foot up off the ground, raising it up, finding your balance, touching down if you need to, and allowing whatever wobble there is to happen. That's you balancing yourself. And notice your breath as you do this. It may help to be looking ahead and finding a point on the floor or wall ahead of you. They'll help you give you a visual reference to hold this position. Now with your arms to the side and your right foot up off the ground, allowing them all to come down, your arms and your right leg down, so they all come down to a vertical position about the same time. And again in the standing pose, finding your breathing, and noticing what it's like to just be standing solidly, balanced, and allowing your body to renormalize itself, noticing any release or tingling. And now bringing your hands up to your hips. So get your right hand on your right hip, your left hand on your left hip. And with your hands in place, your shoulders in the same position, turning just your head, starting with your eyes, and then with your chin, following your eyes around to the right, as far as it's comfortable for you to go. So your chin is over or close to over your right shoulder, looking straight over to your right. And when you're ready, coming back the other way, turning your head now to the left, starting with your eyes and following your eyes. So your eyes and your head pointed over your left shoulder. And keeping your shoulders relatively straight through all this, so all the movements in your head and in your neck. Coming back to center. And this time, rotating again to your right, but this time bring your head first along, starting with your eyes and then your chin. And as your chin comes over to meet your right shoulder, continue the twist. So you're twisting from the waist. Your shoulders are moving further back and further back, so angling off towards the right and back, and keep on twisting and allowing the twist to continue to twist through your waist, through your knees, right down through your ankles. It's your head, your neck, your shoulders, your waist, your knees, your ankles are all involved, twisting as far to the right as you possibly can, and holding this position, finding your breath, and being aware of just what part of your anatomy is involved in holding this position. Where the stretch is, what doesn't need to be involved, and finding your own limit about how far you can take this. And when you're ready, coming back towards the center, hands still on the hips. And then going the opposite direction, starting with the head and the neck, then continue with the shoulders and the chest and the waist, hips and knees, all the way down through your ankles to twisting as far to the left as you can, holding it. And back towards center. And allowing your arm to drop to your side again, back in the mountain pose. Starting here from the mountain pose. And noticing the most balanced you can be in this position is with your knees slightly bent, giving you a little bit more flexibility as you stand here, finding your breath, and beginning a slow slump forward, starting with your head and then with your shoulders, so your arms are beginning to dangle in front of you. Knees may be getting more bent as you keep your balance, just enough to keep your balance as your head and shoulders go down. And letting your arms just dangle from their own weight. Knees bent, head down, and continuing to bend until your head is almost between your knees. In this position, just holding and allowing the weight of your upper body just to do its holding of the position just from the weight alone. There's no real positioning you have to do. Just allowing yourself to hang from your waist. Knees bent in a balanced pose, head down, arms dangling. And when you're ready, slowly and mindfully coming back up to a vertical, but seeing if you can have an awareness of just how each vertebra moves and straightens, starting from your hips. So if you move just one vertebrae at a time, starting to straighten. From the small of your back, all the way up, as your shoulders start to come up, the movement starting from your hips, up through the middle of the back, and keeping your legs bent just enough to keep your balance. Coming all the way back to vertical. And back into the mountain pose. Finding your breath. And bringing your arms up so they're pointed in front of you, horizontal. And we're going to go into what's called a seated pose, but we don't have anything to sit on. So you'll be bending your knees and bending at the hips, back relatively straight, arms straight ahead, finding your balance points. So your lower leg and your upper legs are nearly at a 45-degree angle, just as if you're about to sit on something. Arms straight ahead, head looking straight ahead, feet flat on the floor. Continuing to breathe. And noticing what muscles of your legs are involved in holding this position. What muscles of your arms are involved in having your arms stretched straight out ahead, fingers pointed straight. Shoulders. And holding. You may notice some trembling. What it's like to be holding this tension. You're staying right at your own limit, coming out of it if you need to. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully coming back up to a standing position, bring your arms down simultaneously with your legs starting to straighten. So you're back to vertical. And just allowing yourself to breathe. Noticing what it feels like just to stand here in the mountain pose. And any release or letting go that happens. And finding the rhythm of your breath. And from this position, the standing position, allowing your arms to come up to the side once again, horizontal, and allowing your balance to shift over towards your right foot. So most of your weight is on your right foot, and lifting your left foot up off, so your toe is just touching the ground right alongside your right foot, and seeing if you can move your left foot up your leg, up to your calf, maybe up as high as your knee. Those of you who are very flexible could go even higher. And so your left foot is flat alongside your calf or your knee, arms still straight to the side. Noticing what it takes to hold this position. Finding your breath. And once you find your balance point, allowing your arms to go up towards the ceiling. So elbows slightly bent, fingertips touching. So you're making kind of a circle around your head, standing on this one leg, and finding your balance and your breath. And it's holding this position. This is known as the tree pose. You're standing in the trunk of your right foot. Aiming to find your balance again and just coming back into the position as you're comfortable doing that. When you're ready, letting your arms come back down so they're horizontal again for balance. Your left leg coming down along your right leg, toe touching, then flat on the floor. And feet once again about shoulder width apart. And allowing your arms to just drop by the side and dangle. And when you're ready, we'll be going the opposite direction. Bring your arms up once again, horizontal. Your weight going now to the left foot, and finding your balance there as your right foot comes up off the ground. For balance, just having your toe just touching the ground alongside your left foot. And as you're ready, your arms still to your side, straight out from your sides as a T for balance, allowing your right foot to creep up your left leg, finding a place that's comfortable there, your heel, maybe against your knee or your calf. And holding this position, finding your balance and your breath. And when you're ready, bring your arms up alongside your head. Fingertips touching, so you make a circle around your head again. Holding this position, a tree pose with your left leg as the trunk. And slowly and mindfully, when you're ready, letting your right foot come back down towards the ground to where the toe touches, and then flat, and let your arms come back down all the way down until you want to get in the mountain pose. And from this position, as we're nearing the end of the segment, just allowing yourself to be aware of all of your body, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet where they touch the ground, your arms and your legs, noticing any sensations of release or warmth or coolness, and finding the rhythm of your breath. In your own balance point. And as the segment comes to an end, you may want to acknowledge yourself for taking some time for you, knowing that this process works in subtle ways and can create positive, supportive effects that will ripple throughout your day and throughout your life, expanding your capacity for aliveness, for flexibility, for balance in body, mind, and spirit. This is the end of the standing yoga.